Tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got blocks, who's mostly Dolce down to the blue drop. The same old pimp, Mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee a million sales, pull a level up. You don't believe in Harlem World, nigga, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet, lay it down. Niggas didn't know me 91, bet they know me now. I'm the young Harlem nigga with the Goldie sound. Can't no PD, niggas hold me down.
Black Friday is a colloquial term for the Friday after the Thanksgiving in the United States. It traditionally marks the start of Christmas shopping season in the United States. Many stores offer highly promoted sales at discounted prices and often open early, sometimes as early as midnight or even on Thanksgiving. Some stores' sales continue to Monday, which is called the Cyber Monday, or for a week, which is called the Cyber Week. Black Friday has routinely been the busiest shopping day of the year in the United States. In today's podcast, we will share with you some of our tips to ensure that you crash. By crash, we mean you succeed Black Friday and the festive season. We have Nikki, our certified financial planner and certified money coach, who will share some of the tips with us this evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Zweli Ndlela, and I am your host, co-hosting with Mrs. Freilinghouse, Nikki. Nikki, how are you today?
Evening, everyone. I'm doing great. Trust you all well too, and hope you indoors and not out in the rain and hail.
Let's hope people are safe, not out in the rain. Nikki, before we start, our topic today is episode number 13, by the way. Thank you. Keep on watching the Man Time podcast. It's how can we crash Black Friday and the festive season, meaning that how can we successfully go through without really suffering after the Black Friday and the festive season. And Nikki, can you tell us more about that? There's nothing technical today. It's a very fun and open topic. So I get to say a lot today.
Sure, Zweli. I've taken some time out. I've jotted a few tips, which I'd like to share with all the viewers and the listeners. And thank you for that intro, Zweli, because Black Friday is something that was traditionally only celebrated in the United States. And over the last few years, the concept has spread globally and has certainly reached South Africa, where now Black Friday has become an annual trend here in South Africa. So for those of you who are regular listeners and viewers of the Money Time podcast, my first tip will not come as a surprise to you. And my first tip is around budgeting. Now, I bet you all rolling your eyes and thinking, oh no, not again. Here she goes again. But viewers, listeners, it is so important to set aside what I call a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday and festive season budget. During this time period, with the hype, the emotion, the discounts, it is very easy for people to go off budget and spend money that they do not have or should not be spending. So please set a budget. Linked to this, my next tip would be set a shopping list. Right? So Black Friday is a time when you generally buy presents for Christmas or even maybe some family members or friends who are celebrating birthdays in December. I've got a really good friend and her daughter who celebrate birthdays in December. So when I do my Black Friday shopping for the festive season, I also purchase their gifts during that time period. So take some time. List all the names of the people that you need to purchase or not need to, that you would like to purchase gifts for. Put a budget next to each person's name because you would more than likely have an idea in terms of what sort of gift that you're looking for them. Put a budget, and when you approach Black Friday, take your list with you and ensure that you do not exceed your budget. Zweli, comments from your side.
On this one, because we are the Money Time podcast, the leopard never changes its spots. So we cannot talk a different language when it comes to budgeting. It's going to always be one of our trademark because we stand for it. So I believe so much in that in the budgeting is going to be very important in this, because what we've also taught is that your budget is your plan.
Yes.
It's your financial plan. So if you're going to act without a plan, chances are you're going to mess up. So you always need to have that financial plan. And like Nikki is saying, I like the word list all the names of the people that you would like, not that you need to, because this is also something that comes up that will also get unnecessary pressure. Because all of a sudden, and look at this, you have a budget, and budget and pressure are two things that do not come together. Because once you start dealing with trying to manage the pressure, definitely you are not going to manage your budget, because you'll have to go beyond budget, because I don't think you plan according to the pressures of society on there or what's happening out there. You plan according to the amount of money that you have and the income that you have or that you are getting. Now, if the pressure suggests that you need to spend more, then you are out of budget already. So we really need to be careful on the pressures and stick to the plan, which is write down your budget. You have a financial plan. That's all I have to say, Nick, on that one. Thank you.
Thanks for those wise words, really. The next step from my side would be compare prices. So whether you're using sites like Price Check, compare prices. There's a misconception out there that just because it's Black Friday, a lot of items will be on sale or discounted prices. Now, I'm a person who plans for Black Friday. So each year I can tell you, especially when it comes to high ticket value items like buying a 80-inch screen TV or whatever the technicality is, or buying a new laptop with an i7 core processor or whatever, I would have an idea in terms of what brands I'm looking at and the prices of these particular brands. So come Black Friday, when I go to different websites or stores and I see the prices of these laptops, I'd very easily be able to tell whether it is a discounted price or not. So that is something I'd like listeners and viewers to be aware of. In fact, I've recently read an article where a consumer took one of the a popular discount site in South Africa to task because they had advertised an item at a supposed discount only for the consumer to purchase it and later find out that it was actually far higher than the market related price of that particular item. And that person went on further to take action and basically calling out that particular company for advertising items at a discount when they were not even at market price. So once again, viewers, listeners, if you want a particular item, research it. Make sure you have an idea in terms of the value of the item. And don't be fooled thinking just because something says it's a Black Friday deal, that it is indeed at a discounted price. I'm uncertain if you've had any experiences around this, Zweli.
Well, a Black Friday person per se, I take it as one of the normal. It's in fact I avoid stores more than any other day because of, especially I think it's the traffic that comes with it and the business. But also, Nikki, it's a recent thing to us, Black Friday. So we don't know much about it, and yet we think, we've got this. And it's a good thing that we are unpacking this so that people understand. Like what you just said now, that you may end up spending more than the market price just because you thought this price was discounted. And if you did your research, if you did your planning, you would know that normally this laptop is it's 13,000. It's a normal price, and you would expect nothing more than 13,000 or to be the price when it's discounted. So you're expecting 12,000, 11,500. Then you've done your research and you know exactly that no, the market price is around 13. And we have good resources. Google, you can always Google. At least it's like thinking on your feet when it comes to Google. Some few research rather than going into a store and taking what they're saying that it was 1,000, because you know they can easily write it was 1,399. Now is 1,299, only to find that the real price is 1,299.
Yes.
And you are just celebrating that 100 rand, thinking, yeah, it's cheaper, and yet you are buying it for that particular price. And it makes sense that there is going to be chance takers when it comes to the stores themselves, because they realize that people just know it's Black Friday and they believe that everything that we put out there is going to make sense. So to come in with the experience is seeing other people complaining about these prices, where you're actually buying something for its price, but because it's Black Friday, they just said it's on sale. They all do that, and you can easily fall for it. Just says on sale, and they write a normal price. And since you don't know, and it means you've not planned if you do not know the real price, because you would go into the store and say, hey, I've been looking for this TV, and it says 9,000 rands, and the real price is 9,000 rand, and you're thinking, it's cheap. It must be, I think it must be 12,000, only to find that that price is 10,000 rand. Then it simply means that you did not do your research, you did not plan properly, you do not know what you are looking for, and you've not researched on that. And you end up with buyer's remorse after that.
You could have not put it in a more better way, Zweli. Buyer's remorse, something we've discussed in one of our previous podcasts. Very nicely put, Zweli. So another tip is, when you physically going out to the shops or malls, or alternatively, if you're shopping online, make sure you use a debit card, and a debit card preferably with zero overdraft facility. Now, this would be a good tip, because if you've budgeted for Black Friday and you say your budget is 2,000 rands, you've got 2,000 rands on your debit card. The minute the 2,000 is done, it's done, right? But if you make the error of shopping with your credit card, the only time you're going to be conscious of your spend, especially if you haven't planned well, is when you exceed your limit and you're trying to make a purchase and your card declines and you wonder why, and look at your balance and you realize you've exceeded your available balance on your credit card. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm certain there's many of you out there who can actually identify with this. And I'm not shaming people, no. It's just something that I'm mentioning because I've heard and I've seen it with many clients who don't budget or plan for Black Friday and who go in taking a credit card. How easy it is for them to spend monies that they did not intend on spending. Also linked to using a debit card would be avoid using retail store cards. So this would be like your Edgar's cards, your Fushini cards, etc. because these cards come with a limit. And Zweli gave us a nice example in a previous podcast where he says you could have two spouses, both, for example, with an Edgar's retail card, both going into the store at different times and both purchasing and possibly exceeding their balances, their available credit as well. So please stay away from store credit, because can you imagine a situation where you're doing Black Friday shopping, you're not only using a credit card, you're using a store card as well. I'd like to think it would be very easy for a person to exceed available balances. Zweli, your take?
As you're talking, I'm actually thinking about what you are saying, and it's very dangerous because sometimes it's like writing a blank check for somebody to go in. Because the challenge is, once you are, if especially a person who do that is a person that just realized that, hey, tomorrow it's Black Friday, but they never plan for it. So he says, I've got a macro card, I've got my credit card, I'm going in. And they just, go with the flow because they did not plan. But the truth of the matter is that you must really be having deep pockets for you to do that. Like, you must know your account very well. But if you know that you limited, and saying that when we say deep pockets, we're not talking about a person with $1 million, because that's very limited. Be careful. If you have $1 million, just know you are limited. We can tell you that for a fact, that it's not like you've got a lot of money. So you need to be very careful, because once you do that, you shop without really being cautious. You will end up having a lot of regrets and having all these unnecessary things that you never wanted. And that's why this example of saying do not use store credit cards, it's because you don't feel the pinch right there and there when it comes to paying. The pinch comes after, when now you have to now start paying back that credit. But on the day, you never felt it. You took a TV because you're driven by the limit that you have. And these stores, they increase these limits when it comes to such times. When they know that you can afford, they can easily plug you with 100,000 rands worth of credit. And you go and buy a TV, because now there are TV sets for 87,000 rands. You go and buy that, and you're thinking, I just bought myself a TV. And you don't feel it there and there. But now comes, for the next 6 months, you have to pay something like 12,000 as an installment for a TV. So these are the things that we need to really be careful of. Thank you, Nikki, for that one. I really like the examples that you've given around the credit card and the debit card. Differences.
No, sorry, Zweli, go on.
Yeah, the difference is, with the debit card, when you are out, you are out. The credit card, you can easily exceed and not be and not be aware, because it's a credit card. Like, so with your plan, if your plan was 2,000 rand, in your debit card there must be 2,000 rand, and that's it. You can't go. But with the credit card, you may find that your credit limit is more than 2,000 rands. But because of your own set budget, and you don't look after that, you can easily go overboard. So thank you very much for that one.
Thanks, Zweli. I think the next tip is something you would be able to resonate with, considering what you said earlier on. So this tip would be, stay at home and rather shop online, right? What people tend to do is, when they are in a mall and they go from store to store, in the window of a mall and with the lighting of a store and the lighting in the mall, things look far nicer than what they do online. This is what my experience has been. And also, if you're shopping online and you're using a budget, a list, etc., you firstly away from the crowds. You're doing it in the comfort of your home. And if you've got your budget and your list, you're just shopping according to what your needs are. But if you're walking around in a mall, you may tick off all the items on your list and you just walk around the corner and then you see, oh, wow, there's a 50% discount on Under Armour at Sportsman's Warehouse. I must have this pair of sneakers, But was it on your list? No, not at all. But it did come to your attention as you were walking around and navigating around the mall. But that would also be similar to online shopping, right? Because depending on what social media accounts you have and what newsletters you subscribe to as well, the very same would be applicable. You'd get a message saying 25% off at the iStore, or you'd get a message saying 20% off drinks at Macro Liquor. So just be wary of it. What I have found, my personal experience and what clients have shared with me, is that it's more tempting to overspend when you're walking around a mall as opposed to shopping online. So as a person, you would know what your trigger is. Are you more likely to overspend if you're shopping online, or are you more likely to overspend if you're at the mall? Also, just going back to online shopping, a lot of online websites tend to have better discounts online than what they tend to have in store. So let me give you an example. I purchased my stationery from Typo, and often Typo online tends to have an online site-wide discount of 30%. But if you go to the Typo store, the store does not have that discount. So this is one personal example that I can share around this. Zweli, any thoughts around online versus going into the mall?
No, definitely. There is definitely a lot that comes into my mind and some experience. So I spoke about pressure earlier on, and this is one thing that you'll also experience, especially if you did not plan properly. But there's that natural pressure that you may come across as you go into the mall physically, because you may experience a lot of people living with the same item from the same store. And it could be something that you are also planning to get in the future. Then that takes you off. For example, I've seen this. Lucky enough, then I did not have money. Because I remember at Macro, it was game. A lot of people were living with these big TVs and like in Sean. And I'm like, why? It means this TV is affordable, it's on sale. And everyone was like, because they would pack like maybe say, hey, they'll make that 200 of them and make them to be grouped in one. And everyone is going, they're coming back with that TV and living with it from the store, meaning they are buying it. And you ask yourself, why is everyone walking around with this TV, especially from the same store? And you start having this thing that it must be very affordable. And if you are looking for a TV and you had some money, but you did not plan for it, you'll end up going in and getting it because you feel that this is the right time based on everyone grabbing it. And yet maybe 90% of those people did plan for it. You are part of the 10% that did not plan for it. Or 10% of those people plan for it. You are part of the 90% that did not plan for it.
Yes.
You'll never know. So that what you just said, that being in the store is more tempting and you are exposed to more products than on the online store. On the online store, we set up things categorical. So if you're looking for electronics, you go there. You will not find a sneaker there, So you'll only be exposed to only what you're looking for. But with the stores, there's no category. If we could set our minds to only see this, then it would be easy. But unfortunately, we're not programmed and we're not robots. So definitely, on that one, I'm with you. It's very, very much easy to be tempted on things that you are not going to buy, but because you are just there and you're thinking, this is what you are thinking. Because the also one thing about Black Friday is that it comes once in a year. You're
Yes.
thinking, this is the only opportunity I have to get this. And you are wrong. You are definitely wrong. Maybe the difference, let's look at the price difference. Say we're talking about a sneaker which has been dropped by 300 rands. If honestly it's going to take you out of your budget this month, why not wait, and you can raise this 300 in the next 3-4 months again and get it when the time is right. But we also have this pressure that this only happens once in a year. I'll never get the opportunity to get this, and that's what also happens. So with the online store, you don't really feel like that. I think when you are there physically looking at something, the feeling is different when you see it online. I think the perspective is different. The emotions are very different. Honestly, being in touch with something and just looking at it from the screen, I really think there's a difference there. Because once you start feeling it, seeing it, and you've always wanted it, even if the time is not the right timing, you are likely to fall for it. So let's be careful around going there. Stay at home.
And
Beyond
Zweli, you know, as you said earlier on, I don't understand why people would waste their time and effort trying to get to a mall during Black Friday. Many years ago, in my young days, and this was well before COVID and stuff, when Black Friday just sort of came to South Africa, I was one of those fools, young and naive as I was, caught in the Black Friday vibe, and off I went to Sandton City. Let me firstly tell you, it took me over 2 hours to find parking. And by then I was tired, I was frustrated. I went into the mall, and thankfully that was to my benefit because I was hungry, I was irritable. I didn't even spend much time shopping. I actually wanted to just sit, rest, have something to eat and drink. So it worked to my advantage. But thereafter, I said to myself, never again. There is no discount so great that will take me to a mall. And then I thought, maybe I'd consider taking an Uber to the mall. That would be better. But personally, I would never drive to a mall during Black Friday. But yes, really.
That's a very good one, Nikki. In fact, this is something we should all try and consider as well. You know, Ubering to, if you really have to go physically.
Yeah.
Because we've got people that have got issues. Because you know, you mentioned something there, Ubering to the mall. If half of the people were considering that, then it makes this traffic flow very much easy, especially around the mall. We know that you'd be giving money, but it wouldn't be that bad compared to you being stuck inside the mall for the whole day trying to get parking, because you can go around in circles for like minutes and hours trying to get
Truly.
parking.
And also added to that, Zweli, a lot of people suffer from rage, right? And people can be very rude and unkind to people. And I've seen how people's vehicles have been damaged because another driver is trying to squeeze into the only parking they find that's so small that they scratch 2 cars. And a lot of strange things happen during not only Black Friday, but during the festive season as well. So guys, really, we're not receiving any kickbacks from Uber here, but if you can, you know, rather Uber, and in doing so, you're supporting a small business owner, being the Uber driver, etc. And at least, you know, you're not going to suffer from the frustration of driving around trying to find parking. So it's really a few more tips from my side before we run out of time. A very big tip here, and this is a very difficult one for a lot of us, and I am going to admit it's challenging for me at times as well, is practicing self-control, right? And this is a big one because even though you've got a plan, you know who you're buying gifts for, you've got your budget and everything, whether you online or in a store, you may just see something that's not in your budget or you haven't accounted for. And you've got to it takes a great deal of strength and willpower to say, this takes me over my budget, or no, my budget cannot accommodate this, or I have not accommodated for this, and to walk away. And my personal experience has been as tough as it's been for me when I find myself in a situation to practice self-control. But when I go back in time, a day later, a week later, a month later, I actually realize, but you know what? I was actually going to buy that item because it was on sale. I didn't really need it. I wanted it.
Very true. It boils down to the handling the pressures, and also from your own self, because I think we are all struggling with that, Nikki. This impulsive
It's
buying,
tough.
it's really a tough one, where you just go in and you see this product or this item, you've never planned for it, but you just love it because you think it will suit your house, or just maybe it's a piece of furniture. You're seeing the colors, they're matching your sofas and your wall, and thinking, no, this would make a great item inside our living room, and I guess even the store owners or the people who are doing this merchandising, and they've got a way of putting these things so that they appeal to the eye, and we just have to go back to our brains and say, you know what, we've really spoken about this. Talk to yourself and say, you know what, we've really spoken about this, as if you are talking to your spouse.
Yes.
That we are only spending this. We should really try. I know that you go into the store having planned for 1,000, but you end up spending 1,300, and it's something that we should really try and fight until we get it right. But you can't start practicing that on a Black Friday only. It's something, I think this tip, Nikki, it's a lifetime tip, where we need to try and practice it. And if we can apply it on our finances, we're going to be very good in applying it in other things, because one thing that is very, very difficult is not fighting against spending a lot, So if we can be able to do that, I'm sure we'll start being able to also be able to manage our time, we'll get discipline in a whole lot of things if we can conquer this problem, because it's a challenge for a lot of people.
Really, thanks for these insights. And you are quite right. Self-control is something that will be an ongoing lifetime practice. And it's not only limited to our topic of discussion for the podcast today, but to your point, it's applicable to all aspects of our finances. Some other tips that I can think of would be look or consider giving homemade gifts as Christmas presents. So I've got a particular friend, and she's extremely good at knitting, and she does knitting. It's one of her hobbies. It brings her great joy. It relaxes her, and she often knits gifts as she knits items as gifts for people. And over the last few years, I've received beautiful scarves, mittens, and a lot of lovely jerseys, warm, nice, thick jerseys, perfect in size, etc., because she takes my measurements. And these are the type of gifts that I really value, because she took time and effort to actually knit something for me, taking my size into account, taking my favorite colors into account. And as I say this, I'm certain there's a lot of you out there with many gifts, you know, whether your gifts are baking, and you could gift a person a birthday cake for their next birthday, or gift them a week's supply of bread, or whatever it is. You know, there is no set and hard fast rule in terms of what you can gift a person, because a gift is something that you are giving out of love, right? As you said, Zweli, there should be no pressure. It's something that you just want to give to someone to say, hey, you know what, Merry Christmas. It's my way of expressing my love to you and showing you that I love, value, and appreciate you. So I'd say consider homemade gifts depending on what your natural gifts and strengths are. I'm just thinking of an example. I know of a client who actually gifted one of her friends a few hours a month of babysitting for the friend's kids, so that the friend and the husband could go out on date nights. And she was so appreciative of it, because that meant she didn't have to pay a babysitter to take care of her kids. So these are some examples. A few other little tips that are linked to some of our earlier tips would be monitor your spending, right? If you've given yourself a budget of 2,000 and you online or you in the mall and you're ticking off your list, every time you purchase an item, you've started off with 2,000, you purchase an item for 500 rands, your new budget now is 1,500. So monitor it that way, so you're able to keep track of your spend. Another thing that I've seen that has worked quite well over Christmas is setting limits on gifts. So what does this look like? So for example, if I'm hosting my family for Christmas lunch and we're doing exchange of gifts, or we're doing Secret Santas, or however we're doing it, we will say a gift limit is 100 rands. So whatever gift you come with, it should not exceed this amount. And for me, that has worked exceptionally well, because people are now not going and stressing and thinking, oh my word, what gift am I coming with? Do I have a budget for it? So if you limit it, and it's, you know, Christmas is about spending time with family. It's about gratitude, you know. It's not about who's giving who what gift. That is something that I feel that has become, that is westernized. You know, it takes away the essence of Christmas, which for me is about spending time with your loved ones, going to church or whatever your religion is, you know, taking some time from a spiritual perspective to look back at the year and express gratitude for all that has happened throughout the year. So I found that limit, you know, putting a limit to gifts has worked well for me. Zweli, any thoughts on your side?
Yeah, there are very much a lot of thoughts here, especially around what you've just said earlier about, you know, giving. And, you know, somebody just said 2 weeks back, you know, the issue of tithing or giving out or Thanksgiving, it's attached to love. And the types of gifts that you're talking about, you know, we as society have messed this thing up of gifting or giving out gifts, because we've set ourselves some foolish standards that you know, I cannot get my wife gloves, a set of gloves for winter, you know, it will be embarrassing. And if those gloves were honestly from deep down, from the heart, that's a genuine gift. But we buy gifts because of the pressure that we are receiving from the other person that is expecting a gift, because the person knows that it's their birthday is coming. and they will go like, I can use an iPhone for my birthday. That's putting pressure on people. And people, that's why you do not get even a gift on your birthday, because you've set some standards on your status, WhatsApp status. You'll be like, yo, I can use some iPhone. And yet you know that it's your birthday. Isn't that putting pressure on anyone that was thinking of getting you a gift? You know, and if somebody baked you a cake of an iPhone, you'll be very, very angry because you wanted the real iPhone, and yet that person did it out of love. So that one is very deep, Nikki. Maybe it's a topic for another day, but when it comes to, you know, gifting, there's a lot attached to love. And I like what you just said, that let's look at gifts that we can, you know, give out of love, because it loses the meaning. Things like Christmas Day, it's for family, time spending with family. And with us, at least with my family, I know we are on the right path, because exactly what you are saying, we know it's about time, spending time together. So what we've done is we have a family society. It's like a Stockford, but it's a family. So what we do is every year we switch venues to go to relatives, but we contribute towards the Christmas event. And then also we buy gifts with a set budget. So if it's a 200 gift, everyone gets that. But also, you know, what we've done is we are closing down this thing of making it a surprise gift. So you tell me what you'd like to have, and it becomes a gift, because a gift, it doesn't have any standards on how it should come, as long as you know that this is my Christmas gift. Whether it's like you feel like you're gifting yourself or somebody else is giving you, it is a gift for Christmas. So that's how we've done it, and it works well, but we've never lost the meaning of it. It's about spending. We'll rather not have these gifts, but be together, you know, and that is the most important part of Christmas Day. So this whole spending, running around, festive season, breaking down our bank accounts, going into our investments, just to look fancy on Christmas Day, it's really unnecessary. And you'll only understand that once you get to a level of being smart, wise than being smart, because you know there is a difference. Wisdom is something else. Being smart is all good, but wisdom will teach you that a knitted scarf is a better gift than somebody having to go into their investment account and getting you a Porsche, and then after years that person is no longer able to afford anything. That is wisdom, you know. So we really need to start understanding. Well, we don't expect our kids to be wise to that level, but we can instill this wisdom to them at the early age, that you must understand that if, like we spoke last time, we're talking about it's better to have one gift this year than to have 4 gifts this year and not have any gifts in the coming years. So these are the things that we can really instill as a culture, you know, cultivate the young ones, even those who do not, like the Money Time podcast is trying to instill the culture of learning important values around finances and not have unnecessary pressures. We've spoken about expensive funeral. I don't want to divert, but I'm just, we're looking at things that we've been trying to teach throughout the year, which you can always go back and say, you know what, this was some wisdom from the Money Time podcast. So thank you very much, Nikki, on touching on the festive season, especially Christmas Day. The real essence of
From
Christmas.
my side, or the last tip or two is just linked to what we've discussed a few minutes ago, is to say that gift people experiences instead of items. And earlier on, I shared the example of babysitting, and there's many other examples where, for example, I've got a friend and he drives a BMW M4, and people just love his car. So he only drives it like over the weekend, so 3 or 4 times a month. And he actually gifted an experience to one of our friends to drive his car for an hour. And the friend thoroughly enjoyed the experience because that is a car that he aspires to someday own in the future. And he appreciated that experience more than any tangible gift. So this is just an experience, and it's just an example, but think creative. Not everybody wants something tangible where after a while you forget about it or it breaks. An experience is linked to memories, and it's things that you don't easily forget. So that would be a tip from my side. Another tip that I'd like to share with the listeners and viewers is around reframing your mindset around what the festive season is all about. And we've discussed this throughout this podcast. And it's to say, focus on rather giving back. So I know of many examples where people, for Christmas, they say, instead of giving me Christmas gifts, if, for example, Zweli, you were going to give me a gift to the value of 500 rands, I'd say rather take that money and donate it to an orphanage or donate it to an NGO where that money can be used for the benefit of others. I'll even go a little further, and it's slightly going off topic. I recently attended a client's 50th birthday party, and he made it quite clear on the invite that nobody should bring gifts. He identified 3 different charities. And what he said in the invite is if we'd like to gift him anything, he'd prefer us doing an EFT or donating money in cash, however, whichever form, to the 3 charities of his choice under his name. And when I read that, I was like, speechless for a moment. And I thought, wow, do people actually do things like that? And it really touched my heart. So yes, this was an example of a birthday, but I know a lot of people, instead of asking for Christmas gifts, they'd rather say donate the monies to a cause or a charity where it could be used for the benefit of others. Zweli, as usual, I could go on for the next hour or two thinking up more and more tips to give to the viewers and listeners. But as we are running out of time, I'd like to end from my side in terms of my tips. Uncertain if there's anything that you'd like to contribute or mention or comment on from your side before we wrap up.
Yeah, no. First, before I forget, that friend of yours, I need his number. The one experience on the M4. I wish I had a heart like that on my M, giving it away for a drive as a gift. But for me, I think the lesson that I take from that is that, like you said, I take the tip as is, never mind the example, that give people experience as a gift. I think it comes with maturity, Nikki. Like I said, wisdom, it's something else. And these are things that, like you also mentioning this guy who says donate to charity instead of giving me, that comes with maturity and also wisdom and also life experience itself, because you will never experience giving when you've not received. And sometimes you don't receive from people, but God will bless you and make you understand that this life is not only about you, but it's also about others. And so thank you for such insight and sharing these experiences. I'm hoping that one or two people can learn from it. I'm not worried about myself. I'm a giver myself, so I know that I'll do the right thing. And I want to thank you for also. I know that we still have one more podcast this year, but it's been a great a year when it comes to the Money Time podcast. I think we are very much satisfied with what we've tried to do, with what we are achieving. And I think this is the best gift that you've given, Nikki, this year. And I'd like to believe I've done the same, because this is literally us giving away what we have in terms of the platform that we've created and the knowledge that you keep sharing. And I'd like to say thank you very much. And I have no other tip except for don't spend what you do not have. Do not go and break your bank balance for the festive season. It's just a month of just making sure that you have time with your family and just giving away love. Just give away what you are, which is love. Don't make it complicated. Don't go now and buy a Porsche gift for somebody else, because you are putting yourself under pressure. Unless you can really afford it, unless you really can afford it. But if you can't, why go and on an installment for a Porsche for somebody else? What's your next year gift? If this year you are going to get a Porsche on installment as a Christmas gift, we really need to grow and think beyond just this year. This is the 2023. Because of the Money Time podcast, we have a different perspective about spending for Christmas. Thank you very much. It's goodbye from me, Nikki.
Really, you've said so much, so let me quickly collect my thoughts. So from my side, I'd like to thank you for affording me the opportunity to be part of the Money Time podcast. I know we had a vision earlier this year, and I've got to say, it's far exceeded anything that I could have ever imagined in my mind. To all the viewers and listeners out there, we still have a podcast or two before year end. Zweli just gets surprised. I'll say to him, I thought of this topic. Can we have a podcast? And then he'll say, yes, okay, just say when. So that's what I really love about Zweli, always open, willing, and accommodating. And yes, we're not saying our final goodbyes for 2023 as yet, viewers and listeners, but thank you to all of you who actually take the time and effort to actually listen to the Money Time podcast. As Zweli has mentioned, this is both he and I giving back to the community. We love South Africa. We love the people of South Africa, and we just want people to live a better life. And the work we do here on the Money Podcast is to support and assist people to have a better life and a better way forward. So these are just a few of my practical tips in terms of crushing Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the festive season, or anything that comes along in the future. I hope it has been beneficial to you. So best of luck over the next few weeks as we move into Black Friday. Take care, keep safe, and we will see you at the next podcast.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Who Jews got blocks? Who's mostly Dolce down to the two top? The same old pimp, Mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee a million sales, pull a level up. You don't believe in Harlem World, nigga, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet, lay it down. Niggas didn't know me 91, bet they know me now. I'm the young Harlem nigga with the Goldie sound. Can't no PD, niggas hold me down. Cooler, school me to the game, now I know my duty. Stay humble, stay low, blow like Hootie. True pimp, niggas spin no dough on the booty. When you yell, there go Mace, there go your cutie. Puffy Woods. He have just won the Bad Boy Golf Tournament. How do you feel about winning this PGA?
Man, well,